You're listening to the Podcast Detroit Network. Visit www.podcastdetroit.com for more information.
I said, hey, welcome to the Man Cave Happy Hour. I said, hey, welcome to the Man Cave Happy Hour. We're gonna drink a fine whiskey and smoke a really fine cigar. I said, hey, ladies, welcome to the Man Cave Happy Hour. I said, hey, ladies, welcome to the Man Cave Happy Hour. You're welcome to drink our whiskey and smoke our really fine cigars. One more time, boys. I said, hey, welcome to the Man Cave Happy Hour. I said, hey, welcome to the Man Cave Happy Hour. We're gonna smoke a really good cigar and drink a really fine whiskey.
It is time for happy hour. It is the Man Cave Happy Hour. We are on the road again, like we like to do, and we are at the Butter Run Saloon in St. Clair Shores. I'm Jamie Flanagan.
I am Matt Fox. Oh my goodness, there are a lot of people here.
There are. The Man Cave Happy Hour, whiskey, spirits, cigars, and the stories that go along with them. And tonight,
it's a special evening. It really is kind of a special evening tonight.
Very much so.
We have some really special folks with us.
We're talking about Three Chord Bourbon.
Yes, special folks.
All Three Chord Bourbon. And we're going to be talking to Julia, our mixologist.
Yep, Julia, mixologist.
She's going to tell us how we've done everything wrong in our life so far. Everything. Absolutely everything in our lives so far wrong in our lives.
That welcome cocktail took us like an hour and a half.
And with us is Patrick from the Michigan Bourbon Club.
Hello.
What's up, man?
All right.
How's it going, guys?
So, Patrick, thank you for helping us hook this up and get all these people in here to enjoy the
Absolutely.
bourbons.
I'm glad to help. It's so much fun.
Yes.
You know, free drinks. You know, what are you going to do?
What's the best kind of alcohol?
Free.
Free alcohol.
That is
Right.
That is it. And, we opened it up to 30 people. We got 26 here.
Is there 26 here? Is that what the final count?
So 26.
Yeah. A couple people had, family.
Yeah,
I got to babysit the kids. I understand.
No, that's
good. I actually talked to several of them today, and they were so bummed because they said, I love the Butter Run. I want to come drink free alcohol.
Yeah.
And I have to stay home and take care of my kid.
But no, so it's a really nice event. So we opened it up because the Butter Run, we got the special super secret room. And it really, the 30 is kind of maxed here. We're kind of maxed out at 30.
Well, yeah, it's definitely packed in here.
I wish we could, and if we could have opened up to more, we would have, because our friends at Three Chord are been super generous tonight. They would have opened it up to 100 people if we had the room for it.
Yeah. And we probably could have filled it up.
Yeah.
This bourbon is really, really good. This 107 is my favorite.
Oh.
107.
107? Yeah.
We haven't hit it yet. We were...
I haven't tried it yet. I've been trying the 81. I've been drinking on the 81 for a little while.
Tell me where you are.
That's a really smooth drink.
It's really good. I mean, for a bourbon company or a distiller that not a lot of people know about, and I'm not being mean here, but you expect bad things. I mean, you say, it's just another random distillery. It's just whatever. But then I drank it, and it changed my mind. It's really, really good.
They found some nice juices to blend together to make this. And so that's Matt and I, you know us. We're novices.
I have no idea what I'm talking about.
You're the pro. So we're gonna hope that you can kind of put Brian's feet to the fire and find out what kind of juices they're putting together to make this, which is quite pleasing, because you're a snob, Patrick.
A little bit, maybe. I wouldn't say I'm a snob. I just like a lot of bourbon. I'm a connoisseur for sure.
You've been deep into it.
You've been doing barrels, right?
Yep, correct.
So you know a lot more than I do. You know what a stave is, right?
I do know what a stave is.
How many staves have you smelled in your lifetime?
What's that? How many staves have I smoked in my life?
No, I didn't. Did I say that? No, I said
we were just talking about Snoop Dogg. So
that's it. So we pulled Brian into the table. He's here with us.
Hey, Brian.
To talk. Thank you.
Hey, guys.
This is a nice party. Thank you for facilitating this.
Thank you guys. This is awesome. And this is literally like Patrick and I were talking a little bit. We were talking with you guys. I every time I tell people that I moved here from Malibu,
Crazy.
I didn't know you moved here. Yeah,
I'm still like I'm in New Jersey, New York, California,
Right.
but
Yeah.
I love it here.
You're staying on the East Coast.
What's that?
You're staying on the East Coast, not
Yes.
the West Coast. All right.
Yeah, well,
that's why you
I'll
lost
still-
your tan.
I'll still, I never had a tan. Yeah. I still have to get. I mean, right now we're sold in California, New York, New Jersey, and Michigan.
Okay.
But Michigan is our home. We're a Michigan-based business.
Love it.
And this is where we do our thing.
Where are you
And
guys
this is-
located in Michigan?
In Jackson.
In
Currently
Jackson?
In Jackson.
Okay. Not at the prison, I hope.
Yeah. No.
okay.
That's the other thing that everyone
It could
says.
be. You could put them to work. I mean, you never know.
That's
You
it.
know what?
Do not pick up hitchhikers.
Yeah. No, I know. There's signs everywhere.
If I was a prisoner, I would run towards your facility. I smell corn. I smell bourbon.
I prefer. Never mind.
Well, listen, Patrick. If you get in trouble and you have to hitchhike, I will pick you up and I'll put you in bourbon.
I appreciate it.
You're all set, man.
Thank
You're all
you.
set.
So,
but
Brian-
I have to say this first.
Yeah, go.
When I tell people from Michigan,
Yes.
it's always the same response. It's like, well, you moved here from Malibu, and I'm like, yes, I did. And then the second thing is they will say, well, where do you distill? And I say Jackson, and almost universally they'll say, why? And then the second thing they say is, are you involved with the prison? But
Are you using prison labor? Are you?
yeah, no.
Are you
no.
like Walmart and using that damn prison labor?
We're not, unless there's some talent there that you know of. Where it's bourbon, so there's no judgment.
That's it, right.
But I got to tell you, one of the things that I really love about Michigan, it doesn't matter where it is that when I grew up in Pittsburgh,
Yes.
Pittsburgh was hit really hard with the steel industry,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Yes.
And so you had to look at that, and the neighborhood that I was from, my roommates in college, everything around. There was this belief that industry was always going to last and jobs were always going to last, and so. You have to look at things, and you have to, in some cases, pivot.
Right.
Certain cities, it takes longer to do that. But I mean, if you look at, all of the issues that Michigan had and has had, and mayoral regimes in Detroit, and things like that, and look at where it is now. There's no, I don't know that there's. I see T-shirts, Detroit versus everybody. I don't know if there's any other area in the country, and I travel everywhere, that has the resolve and the revival here, if the rest of the country doesn't know, is amazing. It really is. And I'm proud to be a small part of that.
Detroit is amazing.
There is a lot
Yeah.
of determination.
We love Detroit.
To come back 1,000% better than what we were before.
Detroit has a
They're really-
bad name, and it's terrible the way people talk about Detroit. And my wife and I, my friends and I, we always try and preach. Not preach, that's a bad word, but we always try and tell people how amazing Detroit is from what it used to be. Because I moved up here from Ohio, go Buckeyes, and
Oh, no.
in like
There goes
90.
half our listeners.
In
man.
97, 98, I moved up here to go to college, and when in 98, Detroit was not a good place to be.
Yeah.
Even then. So I can't imagine it in the late 80s and the early 90s. I bet it was just crazy. But
Detroit was resilient.
yeah,
Yeah,
crazy
that.
how
Always been
much it's
resilient.
turned around.
Yeah.
so resilient. Yeah.
And I love Detroit. And I've been here about
Thanks, Eric.
20 years now. My wife grew up here, and we love Detroit. We always promote Detroit. We want to be about Detroit. We want to tell people about Detroit.
You went to Seattle a few months
Yeah.
back.
I did.
And you saw Pearl Jam.
I did.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh no, that's
You were
I
wearing your,
love Pearl Jam.
wrong one.
So you were
That's
wearing your
Candlebox.
Detroit gear.
Oh, yeah, I was wearing my
And
Tigers
How many
gear.
folks came up to you and like, I love Detroit?
A lot of people.
Right.
A lot of people.
Yeah.
And then a lot of people came up and they said, screw the Tigers, because, out there,
Yeah,
Seattle,
yeah.
it's the same division. So
Like, same thing. I
But-
have friends that are all over the country, all over
my
the
wife and I
world.
love going to concerts, and especially if we go to a baseball field, like we went to Chicago, Wrigley Field. I wore my Tigers jersey. We went to Seattle at Safeco Field. I wore my Tigers jersey. We went to Boston and saw Pearl Jam. I wore my Tigers jersey. And everybody is either, I get a reaction. It's either, yeah, go Detroit, or
So, but
Detroit.
Brian,
Yeah.
how does a guitar player and a promo guy with a 310 area code
Yeah.
end up living and barreling in Jackson, Michigan. How does that come about?
Yeah.
Because you're still rocking the 310 on the phone.
Yes, I am.
I'll give out the rest of the digits if you don't answer this right.
All right, so I'm going to tie everything we just talked about in together. So my background and so there's three founders of our company. It's myself, Neil Giraldo, and Wendy. So Neil Giraldo, for your listeners who don't know, very successful musician, writer, producer, screenwriter, and his wife is Pat Benatar. And
Love is a battlefield.
Yeah, and Neil
Always is, man.
But Neil has what a lot of people don't realize is that Neil, even when I first met him, which was about 20 years ago, is one of the most probably underrated guitar players ever, and musicians know that, and so. And even his wife Patricia, it's like that sound. There was a sound that he created. So if you listen to interviews that he talks about, it's recognizing songs immediately. It's
My wife is really good at that.
It's what's that?
She can recognize a song immediately. My wife.
Right, and so but there's a whole structure to that, right? And so. Neil is to bring this conversation back originally from Ohio. So we had worked on a number of projects together, and so he had an idea of creating a documentary about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is in Cleveland, right? But nobody really knows why. So he had an idea about doing a documentary that sort of celebrated Cleveland and artists who came from Cleveland, many of whom were really, really good, never got their due. Do some interviews, do some jam, bring in some of the people who were successful from there and left. Chrissy Hine, Eric Carmen from the Raspberries. The Dead Boys came from Cleveland. A lot of great stuff. There's a guy there, John Gordon, who was a program director and broke a lot of bands. Rush, Boston, Bruce Springsteen. Wow. So many things. So. We had this idea Neil had the idea, and I kept pestering him, right? I'm like, Spider's his nickname. I said, Spider, let's do this. And finally he said, hey, we're doing this thing at the Hall of Fame. So we met in Cleveland. We talked about doing the documentary, and I said, we're sipping bourbon. Yep. Full disclosure, as I said earlier. And myself, Neil, Wendy, and
the best ideas come when you drink bourbon.
Yes, yeah. And his wife Patricia, and I said, I think we could get a spirit sponsor. That'd be pretty cool because he had the idea of doing this noir style documentary. It's gonna be awesome. So we went to places where he played back in the day, back in Cleveland, and they're no longer there. But the factory's in the background, and it's like. This is going to be so fucking cool. I can say fucking, right?
Absolutely. It's a podcast.
Okay. All right, yeah. And it's the man cave. So, anyway, So we're talking about this, and I really, it was just a great idea. I love giving due to. You can always learn from people, and there are a lot of. I guarantee you could throw a stone a mile in each direction from this place right here in St. Clair Shores. You're going to find a musician who is amazing.
Oh my God.
And so we wanted to give a voice to those kinds of folks. So anyway, so we're talking about the creative behind this, and then he said it'd be great to have a spirit sponsor, and we're sipping, and Neil goes, what if we created our own spirits company?
Hey now.
Yeah.
See, that's the spirits talking right there.
That was the spirits talking. But we all
sitting around drinking let's make our own bourbon.
I got a great idea.
A great idea. Yeah. And so, but the only time you know if it's a great idea is if you wake up in the morning
and you still want to do
it. It still sounds like a great idea. Yeah. So but a couple of things that he said that were interesting, and one is that he started playing professionally at a very young, started playing at a very young age, around the Cleveland area, and he said, he'd always notice a bottle shaking on an amplifier. And wondered if that, does that change the molecular construction of the liquid from the beginning of the concert to the end?
3 chord, okay. All right.
Well, 3 chord is I'll explain that.
We'll get there. We're getting there.
Sorry, I'm jumping ahead.
Somebody saw it shaking on the amplifier, and he's like, huh.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's stirring it up for me or what.
Is there a Tyrannosaurus walking around here?
Yeah.
All right.
So anyway, so we're talking about doing this, and I asked him, do you know anything about bourbon? And Wendy, our partner, do you guys know anything about bourbon? No. You know anything about spirits? No. But we launched a lot of brands using entertainment and music.
Sure.
And we're very successful at that. And I actually spoke, an advertising agency hired me, one of the largest, J. Walter Thompson, hired me to go around and talk to people about using music as sort of the confluence of cultures. So we had a lot of success launching brands using entertainment and music. So that was our background. Neil's a creative, brilliant guy. And we thought, okay, can we do this? Can we create a bourbon and finish it, come up with a new process, finish it with sound, frequency, or music, and prove that it worked? So we talked to, actually, Wendy, our partner, talked to about 50 distillers across the country.
Wow.
Everyone said they could do it, but we didn't have the confidence because we wanted to have quality control.
So what was it? Is it a unique thing for you guys here in Jackson, or was this somebody you found that you've partnered with?
No, it's somebody that we found and partnered with.
Okay, so what made them stand out from the other 50 distillers? Seriously, you could still be in California, dude.
Yeah.
We just suffered some negative 20 degrees here in Michigan.
Yeah.
What the hell were you thinking?
All right,
what
let's ease up on that.
Stand out?
No, it's a great question, James. And to be honest with you, it's confidence. Like I shared with you guys before we got on the air, about 3 or 4 years ago, I finally learned what I don't know. Okay. And so when you know what you don't know, it makes it easier. And I had an epiphany. I lost a couple friends. I made some changes in my life that were positive, and it was like, this is an opportunity to maybe try something and put together a team where everybody has knowledge in a certain area, right? So our investment partners came from retail. They're in Buffalo, right? So they're Midwestern people. Neil's a Cleveland guy. Wendy's a Detroit girl. I'm a Pittsburgh guy. And I know that might not sound important.
Very East Coast.
But it's very. You came from Ohio, Patrick. You guys are from here. There's a certain ethic here, and I know it's a stereotype, but it's a positive stereotype. We work hard, and I wanted to put together a team of people who had knowledge, and there wasn't any of this, superfluous. Well, we can do this, but we're not going to put it on paper. The guy that we found here, Ari, had already been very successful, and his notes were meticulous in terms of matching our taste profile, because we did not know if this was going to be able to be successful. Right. So Ari and John are our partners in Jackson in putting this together. We set on this journey. We had a very specific taste profile, but the direct answer to the question is he could prove it.
Okay.
And we wanted to make sure that as we grow, the bottles that you guys like, that our customers like, are going to be consistent across the board. Wow. And that was the biggest thing.
Okay.
And just everybody got along. You want to have when you're a startup, and that's what we are, you want to have a team, and everybody has their own, sort of expertise. Yeah. And is hardworking, because we want this kind of response.
So it was really you and Wendy, and then Neil, and then you found Ari.
Yep.
And then there's a few other people involved in it, so you have this team together, and you're putting out what is a pretty darn nice bourbon. The 81. Patrick, what was your impression of the 81 as a connoisseur?
The 81, I felt it was light. 81 proof is not a very pungent, so it was a very easy drinker. There were no, in my opinion, there were no off-putting flavors. I got a lot of maple. That's why my friend Brent, who was sitting next to you, asked if they were aged in maple barrels, because we were surprised at how much sugary maple we tasted in the 81 especially. The 107 doesn't have as much of the maple in it, but I think that's a good thing. I myself, personally, I like higher proof.
Yep.
107 to 130 is my range of
open
choice.
Flamethrower kind of his proof.
I mean, if you're in the 140s, I'm even more of a fan. So I like fire. But when I like it when it doesn't taste like fire. And this 107, there are several brands that offer a 107, and some of them taste like fire. This doesn't taste like fire.
And this is a good starter for an evening. You don't want to start.
It's a great drinker.
It's a great starter for an evening.
Thank you.
You don't want to start so hot where you can't go anywhere else. This is where you want to start.
So who's driving the bus on the flavor. Is Neil saying?
Yeah, what I want to know is
because
who's,
you know,
and also who's
his
blending.
Taste? Are we? Is this his picture that you and Wendy and the rest of the team are bringing to life? Is that how that's working?
Yeah, because it's worked well for us. So we so to give you a little bit more of the story, when we were putting this team together, before I bring anyone to Neil, we sort of vet. Right, because they're on tour and and everything else. So we talked to these people, and Wendy was an expert at doing this. We whittled things down. A lot of it based on personality and knowledge, and then you have one phone call, people say one thing, you have another phone call, they say another, and it's like that's gonna show up on the shelves. That's gonna show up for folks like you, and it's like one bottle tastes like this, the other bottle tastes like that. We didn't, we're not gonna have that. So Neil has I'm a wine guy. I love red wine. I just do.
You're from Cali.
Yeah. Well,
California has a lot of good red wine.
A lot of great red wines. But, one of the interesting things is that in blending, the French call it élevage, right? So it's like people assume that when wines are made, it's all about, and it is, it's about the terroir and it's about, that sort of thing. But when you put together a Grenache, Syrah, Mourvedre, or you put together blends like that, there's so much that goes into it. It's the cooperage of the barrel. It's everything.
What's cooperage? You just said the word cooperage.
The actual construction of the barrel.
Construction. Okay, so that's where they make the barrel. I've heard the word cooperage. Right. So.
Yeah, that's good.
We're novices. That's what
I'm a novice too. So thank you.
That's why we. That's why we do the man cave. It's because we're novices. We want to learn. So cooperage. That's the first time in this is our 19th show that I've heard the word cooperage.
Yeah, and it's everything.
No, Tony and I talked about a cooperage.
He was just.
See, I wasn't listening. I was too busy drinking.
It's the first time he remembers. He won't remember.
The cooperage is where the barrels are made and usually fired.
He hasn't even tasted the 107 yet.
I haven't got to the 107 yet.
Here, we haven't tasted them yet. Yeah, we haven't. We're gonna get there when we get to it.
Okay. Yeah. So, but to get back to Patrick, what Patrick is talking about with the maple,
please.
Is that's one of the things with the question about the team and everything is that I have to rely on Ari and his team in putting this together. So Ari Sussman and John Burka are our people. Ari's done some great stuff, but the charring of the barrel, cooperage, and the sourcing of where we get the liquid is just everything. And I wouldn't, I don't know. We just know where we want to get to.
Who is the blender? Who is the master distiller?
Ari is our master distiller.
Are you guys
and he's
making?
a Jackson, Michigan guy. He's a Jackson, Michigan.
Ann Arbor, and he's done other distilleries.
Is he from Michigan State? Is he the one?
He was involved at the very beginning of the spirits incubator at Michigan State.
Okay, do you guys know Justin? Man, I'm blanking on his last name, but he's the master distiller at Valentine Distillery. Did you guys talk to Justin at all?
I haven't, but
he was one of the
Ari
first
has.
Graduates of the Michigan State Distillery program.
So those guys probably would know.
They probably know each other really well.
Yeah.
So many. It's interesting that
Justin
so
makes
many things lead back to that incubator at Michigan State. We were at there's a one out in Lansing. There's one in downtown Detroit. We're not going to name other people right now, but they've all have done, and people from around the country come to Michigan State to use that incubator.
It's a big.
That's correct.
It's a big.
That's what you guys did, but in doing so, you found Ari. And so now you got a home in Jackson.
What was he doing before he came with you?
He's done other distilleries. He did Ann Arbor Distilling. He did, if you guys ever tried this, I don't even know if it's in Michigan. Have you ever tried Dad's Hat?
I'm sorry, what?
Dad's Hat whiskey. Oh, so Ari did that. It was the whiskey of the year. They're in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
But I want to say it was the 2014 or 2015 whiskey of the year. Just phenomenal, And again, it's the meticulous attention to detail.
Yeah. Check it out.
Yeah.
When I'm in Pennsylvania again, yeah.
Yeah. Well, we roadshow. But
Ari's kind of the master behind, or he's kind of the brains behind the flavors of the 81.
Neil, I got to tell you, so we all taste as a team.
Yes.
But Neil has a specific taste profile that we all share. But he also has he's got a good palate. I'm not as good as you guys are at separating taste. I just know what I like, and I'm not good at.
You and I are in the same boat. I
that's
know what
where
I
I'm
like
as well,
yeah.
So that's why, because that's why
I love pulling Patrick
trying
in
to
'cause he
evolve
can-
it. Trying to evolve my palate. Yeah. So at the same time.
You listen
Yeah.
to some of these other whiskey podcasts and things. It's like, and there's shoe leather and pencil shavings, and it's
Yes.
like, what the fuck?
I'm getting better and better at that.
Yeah, but you picked up what other people pick up,
Yeah.
you know, and I picked, you know, for me, I'm like I like it or I don't like it,
Yeah.
you know,
And that's what it comes down to. Like,
Yeah.
a lot of people, I'm not very good at it. I'm getting better at picking out individual flavors, but a lot of people can pick out 7 different flavors.
Right,
but
right.
what it all breaks down to is, do you like it?
Yeah.
Or do you not like it?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
I like
So-
it or I don't.
So the perfect scene. Did you guys? I don't know if you guys saw Sideways.
You know,
the wine movie.
The wine movie.
Right, the wine movie.
wine movie, yeah.
So they're about to taste, and Miles is going on and on about, you know, it's got this, you know, soissons of, you know, cheese and you know, he's talking about all these things, and Jack, his guy, you know, he keeps wanting to drink, and then Miles is giving another tasting note, and he goes like, "Can we drink now?" You know, because he's getting all these tasting notes. I can't do that.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
I was just want to drink. Like, we're sitting around talking about it. It's like, well, how about we just drink it?
Yeah.
Can I
Now,
drink it yet?
I can
How about
pick
I
up,
drink
to your point, I can pick up like the flavor notes, but I can't go that deep with like 1% of charcoal.
Yeah,
And we have one of the guys on our team is a great guy, Tony. He's like, oh, this has hints of white cake. I don't know.
What?
I don't know if it does. But
I don't even know what white cake is.
yeah, I don't either.
Cake.
Is that like vanilla cake?
But it sounds good. You know,
It sounds damn good.
Yeah, it sounds good.
Well, yeah.
You know, if I went around here, everyone might have a different opinion, and that's great. I just want people to enjoy their life. I want them to sip. You know, we're not the place that you go out and get hammered. We want people to enjoy what we're doing. You know, as I said here, you know, we give back. You know, charity is really important to us. And we want a sipping bourbon that people can enjoy, drink responsibly, savor the moment with friends and family, because it's a short one.
Yeah.
And we wanted to create a product that is just, you know, sort of, to be honest with you, 3 chords the basis of the blues. It's the 1-4-5 progression on guitar. And if you think...
so as the barrels are aging, right, you have these Ozark barrels.
Yep.
You chart them, you blended it, you put it in these barrels. They're asleep for the regular, for the 81. How long are they asleep for the 81?
So we bring those barrels in
Yeah.
and do the blend,
Yeah.
and then we hit it with a frequency in that new Ozark barrel.
Right.
And
For how long?
That doesn't take long at all.
Okay. So that's a shorter life.
It's
in
a shorter
there.
life because what it does is we call it rhythmic disruption. So
Yeah,
the
yeah.
idea of it is it hits the barrel, and what we learn is that the charring, the filtration, and the water is just as important as the sound. So it's really it's a blend. Okay.
Uh-huh.
So when we hit it, it releases more vanillin from the wood. After that happens, then it gets bottled, and that's why we call it perfectly tuned taste.
Okay.
And we tried different frequencies. You know,
So is there a particular song that is playing? Is there
No,
a particular
it's
set of
a- we-
instruments or
one-
frequencies?
it's a frequency.
Oh,
Yeah,
What
it's
is
a
that? What
megahertz.
what does that frequency taste like?
Yeah.
You,
I want to taste
like
Stairway to Heaven.
synesthesia.
Yours is sitting on
Synesthesia,
top of that
exactly.
Fago fan there. That Fago's machine, which is very cool, by the
It's
way.
like synesthesia, right.
But
I love it.
so yeah, that's just amazing. So Metallica is doing the same sort of thing. They have blackened.
That's correct.
And then they've actually just bought a still from somebody in Kentucky, I think, and are taking it out to L.A. to do their own distilling out there.
Yeah.
But they pump their own music at it, so I didn't know if it was like, you know, some like cool, you know, lead belly, lead foot, something or other blues playing at it. But so it's just a frequency being blasted at these.
Yeah.
Not a particular song.
No, and you
Because
know,
that'd be cool if you could download the soundtrack for your bottle.
yeah,
You could play it while you're drinking.
Here you
Yeah.
go. Little added value. download the soundtrack for your bottle. People
Yeah.
don't know. Sell them that shit.
Well, and Metallica is doing something similar to that. So,
Yeah.
so their distiller, and you probably know him, Patrick, or maybe you guys have talked about him. Dave Pickrell was a guy that he's a legend, in the business. And our guy Anthony DeYoung had talked to him the Sunday before he passed away. So he passed away about a month or so ago, and Anthony asked him, what would you like to be your legacy? And he's been involved with enormous brands, and he said, I believe that blending isn't getting its due, and it's an art form, and it's not easy to do, and it's sort of the intersection between art and science.
Well, you know what? I mean, to call people out on their shit right now, so many of the big distillers, they're out of juice.
Yeah.
And then what they're doing is they're blending stuff. I mean, right now, call people out on their shit. I mean, a lot of people are blending things to be able to have products to put out.
Yeah, well, the big bourbon boom crushed every distillery.
Yeah.
And what they have left is not enough to supply single barrel bourbon. So now they're blending.
Yeah.
I mean, even when we went with the wine garden to pick a barrel from Maker's Mark,
yeah,
we did a blend.
I have one of those.
Yeah.
Blended our barrel.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Wow, okay.
So a lot of people are doing it. I mean, there are less and less age statements on bottles these days,
right?
Because of that fact that everybody's out. There's no more 12-year-old, 15-year-old stuff anymore.
Right.
Enough to create a product that people can drink. Right.
Yeah.
Unless you're sourcing it from someone like MGP or I forget the other one in Illinois and a couple other places that have barrels sitting there, which is probably similar to where you guys are sourcing from.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of people.
Blending's not a bad thing because it's really what's being done.
Oh, no.
And it is an art form.
Yep.
I mean, to call people out on their crap, it's what's being done. All right, so we've moved from the 81, right, is where you guys started.
Yep.
And you had that, and you're like, hey, let's do something a little up from there, right? What was the idea with the 12-year? Because I'm about to grab that.
I would tell you exactly. It's Patrick. Because I will tell you this. When we did our first tasting, Nolan Finley from the Detroit News is a bourbon guy, and Steve Henderson, they also have a bourbon club. And we were talking to people, and again, I'm learning from people like you, because I just wasn't a bourbon drinker. And a lot of people that we talked to said, wow, this is really smooth, very approachable, doesn't have enough oomph, doesn't have enough,
I agree.
They like the fire. And bourbon drinkers.
I like hot.
And there's tonight there's probably 6-7 ladies here. We invited 30 people. There's probably, all right, 3. All right, but
full
5.
disclosure,
There's 5.
All right.
Well, Julia counts for 4.
6.
All right. 5, 6.
I don't know what you want.
No, and that's not a bad percentage. I mean, but and the ladies are liking the stronger stuff as well. So it's not, people are looking for a bit more flavor, a bit more bite. The people that are aficionados are looking for a little higher stuff, and so is that what kind of helped you along to go with the 12-year?
Yeah, but again, it gets back to taste profile, right? So we wanted to get that burn so that we could accommodate the guys. And I don't want to say burn, I want to say more of a hug, right? Because even with our 107,
I'm going to get a hug from him later. All right, never mind. I'm going to, by the way, but all right. Prepare yourself for it.
Yeah,
all right.
exactly.
What did I just miss?
A hug. All right.
What did I just miss?
The bourbon is hugging you.
Oh, okay.
And I am going
You got to keep
Are
up
you
that.
going to hug him later?
And I'm going to pass it on to Brian. Yes.
All right, fair
Absolutely, yeah. So the bourbon community is very loving.
Not a bite, but a hug. So it's not,
A hug.
So it's not
because
like
we were
it's not
hearing a lot of
fire.
the
Yeah.
right, exactly. Because we wanted to see. My taste profile, to be honest with you, is more towards the 81. But we wanted to be able to stick to our profile, still use our process, right, the perfectly tuned process, but give a hug that didn't, with some bourbons you drink it on Saturday, you taste it on Monday. We didn't want that. The other thing is, I don't know if you guys know this, but Wendy, one of our founders, is also working on creating a chapter of the Bourbon Women Club. There's only 5 of them in the country.
Wow.
Because bourbon is, for women, women are responsible for more than 30% of the market right now.
Absolutely.
That's a big chunk.
There are so many women master distillers right now.
and as distillers, absolutely.
Yep. Pam, I forget her last name. She is the Michter's master distiller.
Yeah.
The new Castle and Key bourbon is a woman master distiller. They are doing, amazing. And they say that women can taste much more than
I would imagine their palates would be more
are much
sensitive.
more refined for flavors.
Refined. Good word.
So, I can vouch that I've been a Michter's fan for a long time, and Pam has done an amazing job with what they're doing. So I wholeheartedly believe in whoever is best, let them do it. And she is really, really good at what she does. So, it's crazy. Yeah.
So our 12-year has more of a hug, and that was intentional. Right?
Yes,
with the higher proof.
Well, with the higher proof, there's only so much you can do.
Sure.
But we wanted to smooth it out. And I think that Ari and John's our other partner, John Burka, and I think the process and the diligence to do that, so that we were able to. What we wanted to do is sort of be the convergence of a couple of different taste preferences, right? So you get the hug, but you still get a smoothness, still pull some of the maple, the caramel, the vanilla, the white cake, if you listen to, our guy, citrus, he picks up notes of this and that. I don't know, but I just can't do that. But the idea of that convergence is what we wanted, And we've gotten some great. Mark Gillespie from Whiskey Cast gave us 94 points for this, and we're off to a good start. I just want, at the end of the day, I sell bourbon, and I said it earlier on the show. This is a short one. No matter how long you live, and we really seriously believe that you listen to music, you get together like this, you get together with friends, you meet new people, you enjoy, hopefully you enjoy our bourbon, and that's what we wanted to do.
The 12 year is just for me when I nose it, it's got a feeling of I know I'm gonna feel bourbon, but I don't know what the bite's gonna be like, and then when you get to that bite in the back of your throat, you're like, okay, I can do that again.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do it again, but I'm going to do it responsibly. But it's a very smooth, it's a very nice, warm feeling for me. It really is.
So what's the mash bill on the 12-year blend?
So that one's 84, 8, and 8. So that's you're getting a lot of corn there.
A lot of corn. That's where the unsweetness comes from.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you guys have...
Is there rye in here? Is there some
8% and then 8% malted barley.
Are you guys going to start distilling?
We are, it's further down the road. So our plan is, currently we're in Jackson. As we continue to grow and add additional expressions, we're looking at, with our team at a couple of other, opportunities so that we can do that. We can do the grains to glass.
Do you guys have a still yet or no?
No, not yet.
No still?
Yeah. So
how many barrels do you have on hand?
It all depends. At any one time, so when we source from these areas, we bring up the totes or the barrels, and then we move it over. I can tell you that we do about 1,500. We have the capacity to do about 1,500 bottles a week.
Okay. Are the barrels stored in temperature control, or are they out like in a rick house?
No, totally temperature control. That's part of what we wanted to do. Was be able to do the QC, to do the quality control.
Okay.
And especially here, one thing I do know, I can say, in talking about temperature, our bourbon goes really well with a 22 degree below zero day, and I never ever wanted to make that statement.
No,
nobody
anywhere.
did.
No,
yeah,
we've had some cold ones and it survived the car.
Yes.
Excellent.
And then it was like 55 degrees.
Yes, it's 55 degrees.
And we're water skiing the next day, so it's
crazy,
insane.
Yeah, that's good though. Cheers to Michigan.
Oh yeah, hell yeah. Man.
And by the way, Patrick, I couldn't. My partner Neil Spider would not let this go. We went last year, not this past season, but the season before. He's from Cleveland, so he is a diehard Buckeye fan.
Go Buckeyes.
Yeah, so
there goes the other half.
I have no argument. He and I with the Steelers and the Browns, I have an argument that's not even close. But the Michigan-Ohio State argument, as of now, is not close either. So,
well, I'm from just north of Cincinnati, so I'm not a Cleveland fan. I'm a Bengals fan.
Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah, no, I know. Yeah, all of a sudden he got serious.
I'm a Bengals fan. and a Bengals fan.
Oh, Bengals
Cincinnati
fan,
Bengals,
yeah.
Cincinnati Reds, and we've sucked for a long time. So I'm used to it's kind of like I just blended in with the Detroit people
like,
because
oh.
all their teams suck. So, it just worked out well. Go Tigers and go Lions, just like go Reds and go Bengals.
Absolutely. Well,
Recently, 15 years is a bloody thing. I'm old, is what that means. But.
No. I love the T-shirt. We noticed, like the first year I was here. Actually, the first time I saw the place was at 2 James, and we met those guys, and great guys. And everyone here has been so supportive of each other. But someone had a T-shirt there that had the old school Lions logo, and it said "Rebuilding since 1956." And I know here you guys are used to it, but I just thought that was so funny.
That's no lie.
That is it, man.
Yeah. But you can't not like the Lions. They never bother anyone, and they got great uniforms. You know?
Yeah. All right, so with Julia, let's grab Julia and talk about that welcome cocktail. She's back over there, like
she go over there?
holding
Patrick's
court
going to get her.
somewhere. And
So Jamie, you're tasting the one. You're taking. You're
I'm finally into the 12-year. Yes.
So what does your palate tell you about the 12-year?
It's warm. It is definitely warm.
Downstairs.
Oh, she went downstairs
she
to
is?
eat. All right, maybe we won't talk to Julia.
So Julia.
Oh, no, we will.
We lost her.
She did an old fashioned.
Yeah.
With the actual
Tonight, for the Man Cave Happy Hour tonight, we're at the Butter Run Saloon in St. Clair Shores. Gotta say thank you to Dave.
Thank you, Dave.
From the Butter Run Saloon. Fantastic story about the Butter Run Saloon. It used to be called Grissom's for a long time.
How did Butter Run come about?
And I wanted Dave to sit down. I'm like, Dave, when we're doing the podcast, you should sit down and tell a story. And he's like, yeah, no.
No, I'm gonna make a Butter Run.
And I'm like, all right. So, but his family has this wonderful story about how when he was a little kid, I mean, like, way back, because he's our age and I'm in my mid-50s. So when he was a little boy, Mom was, when you are like a twinkle in an eye still, but Mom would say, all right, you got to go get groceries. We're missing this, we're missing that. You got to go
to the grocery store.
Go to the grocery store. So they're off on a butter run, picking up butter and milk and bread and whatever. And so Dad would go, okay, honey, I'll go get it. You keep doing. And so they would go out on a butter run. And they would end up at the bar.
And they started calling.
And then Mom would be like, God damn it, where are those boys? And then they would send the kids, Dave, when he was like a tiny tot. And they're like, you know where he is. Go get your father. And so they would go, and they would say, hey, Dad, Mom says to come home. And it was always interrupting the butter run. So it was the family. So it became code with their family. It was like always the butter run. And that meant let's go have cocktails.
That is so cool.
And so I thought there was some like crazy bootlegging scheme of finding. No, it's just getting away from your wife. It's about as basic as you could get. Because there's a lot of bootlegging stories in Detroit, and I was really hoping for one. But it was like, no, just ditching my wife and having a beer. So it was fantastic. But he served up some fantastic hors d'oeuvres.
Oh, yeah.
And the food here was good, and the food downstairs is great. And it is. It is a great place. And Brian, you guys have treated us very, very well tonight.
Oh no, we appreciate it. I appreciate Dave, and I mean this place is awesome.
Yeah,
this is like the perfect. The only thing that's missing here is cigars.
Oh yeah.
You know, so
that's the other part of Man Cave that we haven't got to.
That's it.
Yeah.
Well, you're a native here.
Well, I'm living here now.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, all right. We do cigar ventures here and there. Here's
one of the things I did, and you guys are invited. You guys are all invited.
Yeah.
We'll let Patrick know as well.
Yeah.
So we're releasing our rye. And we're doing the world premiere for that at a place in Ann Arbor called Cirrus. Okay. So it's a cigar lounge and barbecue.
Perfect.
So and I'll invite Dave. Everyone can come, and that's on March 2nd.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be this. It'll be a cocktail. It'll be our 81. It'll be our 107, and it'll be our rye. and we're premiering it no matter what.
Okay.
So if
If there's labels on the bottles or not.
Yeah, I'm not going to get into detail there, but Cirrus.
I think we all know. I think we already know.
Yeah.
We just got back from another. We did one up in Lansing at another distillery, and we brought all the bottles we brought home. None of them had labels on it.
Oh,
we were writing the names on them with Sharpies because they were stuck without labels.
Yeah.
They're waiting for their labels.
Yeah.
And so I have these bottles, and like at a Super Bowl party, and people came over and they're like, "What's this?" And I'm like, "I don't know. Hold it up to the light. Let's look at the Sharpie."
Yeah.
It's like
Did it have the masking tape and and the ink? Yeah.
I would have
totally.
been able to see it either. But yeah, so it was, it's astounding the hoops you have to jump through to get a mix or one of your bourbons approved. It's really amazing.
Yeah. So and everything starts with what they call the cola. So that's what you send into the feds.
Right.
The TTB office. And so the way that process works is, it's not just us. It's Brown-Forman, Suntory, everything has to be approved through there. And then you also have to prove, what you especially with a bourbon, you have to prove that what you say is there is actually there.
Right.
And so, and with the shutdown, they're literally thousands of labels behind. So, including ours, but, it is what it is, and, we're just we have a great rye though.
Yeah. All right. So you have the 107, you have the 81.
Yep.
And now the 12 year came out in February here. And then the rye is coming out in March.
We're hoping, March, April.
With God willing and labels behind you, March you're going to have a rye out. Is there plans beyond that, or are three of them good?
Oh yeah,
no,
we're going to continue to grow.
What's in R&D right now that's interesting to you? What's something that is intriguing to you?
Well, I love everything.
Yeah, okay.
Neil is from Neil's family is from Sicily.
Oh.
So in our investment team that we brought in has a retail background, and they're from Buffalo, and so their name is Danilo. They came from Italy. So there is grappa is very popular over there, as is limoncello, and so we're looking at creating a grappa. Again, using a unique process, starting with flavor that isn't necessarily... Grappa sometimes is compared to jet fuel, and that's not always a great tasting note.
Okay.
So we're trying to sort of work on some, really creative ways to create grappas and limoncellos and some other. We'll continue to, to explore, the brown spirits, because it's something that we're all passionate about, and... so far so good.
So you said you're a red wine guy.
Yes.
Is there any thoughts about doing some, Angel's Envy does some brandy barrel finishings? Is there ideas, because you're a wine guy? Are there any ideas about finishing in barrels like that?
Yeah. So it's a great question. It's something we started to explore. One of my favorite wines is Phelps Insignia.
Okay.
And so it's a great family. They're in Napa, and one of the organizations that we support is the Staglin Music Festival for Brain Health, and it's and the Staglins create. He's one of the few. He and his wife Sherry are one of the few people to create 100-point wines. I think they've done 2 or 3. Cabernets and Chardonnays are, sort of their thing. So when they did this event, I talked with the Phelps folks, Lynn Phelps, and also with Garen and Sherry and their winemaker about doing exactly that. Taking our process and then seeing if the barrels can make a difference, and we maybe come up with a whole new taste profile. So we're experimenting with all kinds of stuff. And when I say we, I'll talk to people, and then I'll give it to the smart people on our team, and then they figure it out, and then I'll come back and take total credit on shows like this.
Right on. Perfect. Right on. Brian, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you guys, man. I want Julia to come up.
Yeah, I would. I don't know.
It might not work out. Yeah.
I don't know.
Exactly. Definitely come.
We're gonna fire back up and talk to her. We will. But,
but you guys, I can't thank you guys enough for inviting me, and this was exactly as you guys described. Thanks, Matt. Appreciate it, man. Thanks, James.
Thank you.
You guys do an awesome job, by the way. Yeah, cheers. That's right. Some of that sound effects. Those sound effects are real. Cheers, man.